Hello and welcome to the BSI Comics Podcast. I'm Adam.
Fletch.
Anyway, so for this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the news. We're going to recommend a couple things. First things first. Entertainment Weekly released a still photo of the new Wonder Woman movie. We're not really quite sure what it's called. It was labeled Wonder Woman and the Amazons. I don't know if that's the name of the movie. What did you think of it?
Looked like a still that was heavily photoshopped.
As most pre-production stills are. The costume designs were interesting. Now Zack Snyder's not directing this movie, but it did look to me.
Looks like it.
Yeah, it's a little bit 300 and a little bit honestly Asgardian. Looks a little bit Thor, which isn't entirely inappropriate.
It's four ladies in armor on an island.
But it looks good. Early buzz on Batman vs. Superman is that Gal Gadot's one of the brighter spots in the movie. And that's from critics who've been pretty much panning the movie across the board. Fans seem to be a little more positive about it, but neither one of us have seen it, and Fletch Boogie will be reviewing it himself.
We might have a special guest if he can behave himself.
We'll find a special guest, but it won't be me because I'm not seeing the movie, but whatever. There was an interesting tweet from Jonathan Hickman, who most recently worked at Marvel. He was the creator of Secret Wars, or the new version of Secret Wars.
Amongst many other successful titles.
He destroyed the Marvel Universe and sort of rebuilt it.
Just once?
Yeah, I guess at least twice.
Okay.
At least twice. And so currently he's not working on any Marvel books, which is a little curious considering he sort of occupied the Brian Bendis role for the last, say, 2 years.
Yeah.
He went from Fantastic Four to being like on 3 Avengers titles or something like that.
The go-to guy.
Yeah. And he basically orchestrated I was going to say rebirth of the Marvel Universe, but I guess that's inappropriate because DC kind of claimed that. But so he claimed the afterbirth of it, or pre-birth? No?
New version,
whatever. But he's been absent from Marvel, and he probably just needed a break. He was previously on a retainer to Marvel. He was under contract from 2009 to 2012, but it was 2016, so he's been without a contract for the last 4 years. But he tweeted at DC, "Hey guys, you can stop emailing me. I'd love to do it. It was something to the effect of, I destroyed one universe. Don't think I wouldn't love to do another."
Right.
Now the question is Hickman kidding?
Yes.
You think so?
There's no way he's being serious.
I mean, clearly the end about destroying the Marvel Universe was a joke, but I don't know. It seems like it'd be something he'd want to do. It's on his list. Hickman's always been a big indie guy. He got to start at Image, and his best work is at Image as a creator-owned guy.
I don't know that it's actually happening or whatever, but I think he would be someone that could bring some real solid storytelling to DC, which they need pretty badly.
Right. And I don't know. I think he's the kind of guy that it would definitely be on his list. He did Marvel. He's done everything but X-Men. I don't think he did Spider-Man either, honestly. But, he's basically controlled the Marvel Universe for a couple of years. Why wouldn't he go to DC and get that out of his system? So, we'll see. But it could very well be a joke.
I laughed.
Sad news. Garry Shandling died. I'm not sure if it was today or yesterday. It was announced today, at the age of 66. The last time we saw him was in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I'm actually a big Garry Shandling fan. One of the main theme songs that's always been in my head since I was a little kid is It's Garry Shandling's Show theme song, which is the
HBO
one.
show?
No, you're thinking of Larry Sanders.
Okay.
Wait, actually, was Garry Shandling on HBO? Okay, sorry. I didn't know that. It's been a long time. But I love that song. That's the one where it's like, okay, I can't whistle. And you probably can't hear it on there anyway. But I love Garry Shandling. He was looking pretty beat up, though, in Winter Soldier. Even before he went to have relations with a 28-year-old. But really sad news. He was only 66 years old, which in modern terms isn't that old.
Not at all.
So rest in peace, Garry Shandling. Sorry to see him go. So This isn't exactly a news item, but it's something that I kind of forgot about that we talked about on the, I guess, previous version of the BSI Comics podcast.
A while ago?
Yeah. When it was a podcast, not a vodcast. Is that what you called it?
Yes.
Okay.
We're a vodcast.
A while back, we had a discussion on Don Bluth, creator of Dragon's Lair, and there was also a future one that I can never remember the name of. Space Ace? I think it was Space Ace.
Yeah, that
might be right. But so he did a Kickstarter that was severely mismanaged, and partially because these are old guys who they weren't around during the internet age. And Don Bluth is a legendary creator. He was I guess he wasn't an Imagineer at Disney. Excuse me. He was an animator for Disney for a while.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then supposedly after the failure of Sword in the Stone, he kind of had to part ways, and he went and did some pretty awesome movies.
Which I don't consider a failure at all.
I love that movie. That's actually one of my favorite Disney movies.
Me too.
But he did some pretty great movies. All Dogs Go to Heaven, I think, was his. Fievel, An American Tale. Plenty of other ones. I think the most recent one was Titan AE.
Was he involved with that?
That's definitely a Don Bluth. I don't know if he himself, but it's definitely his style.
Right.
So it had to be a Don Bluth film, one way or the other. But so most people of roughly our age remembered the...
It's one of those things where even if you didn't know his name, if somebody showed you a picture, you would definitely recognize the Bluth style.
It's a very specific style that even amongst Disney is very, recognizable. Right. So most people of roughly our age range remember the Dragon's Lair video games and like I said, Space Ace as well. And they were sort of unfinished epics. So he did this Kickstarter to, I guess it was to make an animatic or something like that, or at least a very, very short animated movie, which was essentially a proof to shop around
proof of concept.
Yeah, proof of concept to shop around to animation studios because he wanted $70 million to make this movie, which there have been some pretty awesome Kickstarters that have made tens of millions of dollars,
right.
Possibly. Nothing's made $70 million, and it's very unlikely to get that for just about anything. But he was asking for $550,000, and they put on this weird song and dance number. It was this whole orchestrated, poorly written, poorly acted video, which was kind of entertaining, but also kind of sad because you want them to succeed,
right?
But it just wasn't well thought out. Which, to be honest, a lot of Kickstarters aren't. So then it kind of went away, and so today someone mentioned it, so I looked it up. It turns out that he got $273,000 out of the $550,000 halfway through his campaign and canceled his Kickstarter. But it gets better. So the reason he canceled the Kickstarter was because he wanted to switch to Indiegogo. But it gets better. He switched to Indiegogo a month later and asked for half that money, which was roughly $275,000. And he ended up making $573,000, which is $25,000 more than he actually asked for.
Okay.
I'm kind of shocked, quite frankly. Just the fact that he didn't end up taking the money from the Kickstarter, and people still were so excited they invested anyway in the Indiegogo. And he made his money.
He's definitely got the following and the chops to pull it off, but canceling...
He's got the people who admire him. I don't know, following in modern terms, how do you contact Don Bluth? It's not like he's on Twitter.
At Donnie B.
I would kill to see at Donnie B. Don Bluth Twitter. But it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Kickstarter. I like crowdfunding. I'm probably going to do one of my own sooner or later. But you got to manage these things properly. And the biggest problem with Kickstarter and just crowdfunding in general is just how poorly managed and how poorly thought out they are. It's almost to the point where I wish both Indiegogo and Kickstarter had an online tutorial class that you had to take before you could set up your program.
There's also no real punishment if you don't give people what they paid for.
That's true, and we've seen a lot of that.
It's a problem.
There was that guy who made there was that guy who made $1 million for his comic that he asked for like what 20,000, some small amount, and then he was burning copies and saying, "You should just pay me for my art," and those people just never got their comics,
right?
As far as I know. There's the guy from Non-Player who got. I'm pretty sure his was a Kickstarter, and then like you didn't see anything for like
the Rob Liefeld
6 years. Rob Liefeld did one?
What was the project that got backed, and it'd been like a year between the finishing and the book coming out?
I don't remember. I remember the Mark Silvestri one. Which
I'm mistaken, but
I don't even want to talk about the Mark Silvestri one. That was.
There's just so many there's so many stories of where a book got funded and it's supposed to be an exclusive, and next thing you know, it's available in comic shops nationwide before you get your Kickstarter award.
Right. It's obviously it's not just comics. It's across the board. But I mean, I feel like with certain things like movies and comics, you kind of expect things. If you're funding something that's technologically based, then things are going to happen.
Right.
The finished model may not be able to do what they said it would do.
There's also ways you can go about it by giving updates. You run into a snag, so you shoot everybody a message. You're like, "Hey, this is what's going on. Here's a video." Something.
And don't
anything.
shoot the people who funded you, who supported you, a message that says, "Hey, go screw yourself," which a lot of people seem to do. I've gotten at least one of them myself,
because that hurts us.
Right.
that are trying to crowdfund something,
and it makes
that we're passionate about, that we want to get done,
and it makes the next guy who's trying to get something crowdfunded less likely to actually get his money,
exactly,
or her money, whatever. So
their money,
yeah, their money. So I guess to finish up, like I said, we wanted to recommend a couple of books. You want to go first?
Right on. This is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, in comic style, and it's awesome. If you like Hunter S. Thompson, there's no reason you should not have this. They're also doing this in comic book form in a miniseries pretty soon too.
Oh, really? Different publisher?
Same thing. They're republishing this book just in comic size.
Okay, so it's the same art, same everything. It'll just be in a slightly different format.
Right. Jim Food's doing some of the variants. You can see that.
Okay.
For sure.
If you're not familiar, if some of you are kind of young, there was a Johnny Depp movie based on the life of, or the books based on the life of a guy named Hunter S. Thompson, who's best known for being best friends with Bill Murray. So if that doesn't sell it for you, I don't know.
And this is adapted by Troy Little. It's awesome.
I really like the art in it.
It's fantastic.
I wasn't familiar with Troy Little's art, but it's very cartoonish, very accessible. It's probably not a good book for kids.
Not at all.
If you're 18 and older, we'd be happy to sell it to you, or you can, if you're not from New Orleans, your local comic shop, whatever.
Definitely check this one out.
So this one I wanted to bring up because actually, I got it upside down. Actually, WG in America just announced that this is going to be a pilot, which hopefully will lead to series. It's called Scout. If you're familiar at all with Jason Aaron, who writes pretty much everything, he's the Star Wars guy, if you've read any of the recent Marvel Star Wars comics. But he's been all over the place. He writes a lot of X-Men. I'm not sure. Is he still on X-Men?
I'm not sure. He's one of the other ones that writes so many books you kind of lose track.
Right.
But I've never really picked up on him and been like, this is terrible. It's always solid work.
Jason Aaron's very good. So basically, Scout.
Run.
Oh, right. Oh, he is on Thor currently. Right. He's writing female Thor and wrote Thor Odinson prior to that. So Scout is the easiest way to explain it, and this is the way they always pitched it, is that it's The Sopranos with Native Americans. And the main character comes out first page wielding nunchucks and beating up criminals. So it's about a guy who escapes his past. He leaves the reservation. His mom's a hippie. He hates her. We can all relate to that. I'm just kidding. I love you, Mom. Anyway. So he leaves, and there's the Indian reservation. In the meantime, is overrun with corruption. The casino comes in. The Native American mafia takes over, and so he becomes an FBI agent and is sent in undercover to essentially take them down. Great series. Very, very Vertigo in the sense that the art, if you're used to superhero art, probably isn't your cup of tea, but very, very evocative. I'm a big fan of this book. The art is actually incredible. The story is incredible.
Who did the art?
R.M. Garrow. Is that not how he's pronounced?
Yeah. You didn't say it. I was just trying to get
I didn't? Sorry. R.M. Garrow. So anyway, Aaron and Garrow's on this. Like I said, it's at least going to be a pilot. Now, that's not a guarantee of series.
I don't know. WGN's it's a pretty tough sell on WGN, huh?
Well, I mean, look who did Walking Dead and is doing Preacher. Which, did that come out? It's coming out soon.
Yeah, soon.
Coming out soon. But, so, I can understand it. And hopefully this is pretty awesome. Or the book is. Hopefully the TV show is awesome. I'll definitely be checking that out. Is there anything else we should mention before we close out? Is there any big... Batman number 50 just came out. We got a new Batman suit.
Possibly a placeholder.
We'll see.
Little homage.
Snyder and Capullo are leaving.
I think this is their last book together.
Yeah. Well, for the time being.
Right.
Capullo is going to do, I think with Mark Miller, he's going to do a series.
Yes.
So, check that out. But yeah, Batman 50 on stands now. And I guess read more comics. Bye now.